So hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. It is time to talk about Fear. It's been a week since Fear ended. We've had time to go back, rewatch it, dissect it. I've read up on some reviews, I've watched some other people's thoughts and opinions and stuff about the finale. From what I'm seeing, it's somewhat positive, coming from most people. Now, it's Fear. Fear is that kind of show. It's a divisive show. People either love it or hate it. We'll get into that in a minute. As always, I just ask that you guys be respectful in the comments because that's the kind of atmosphere that we keep over here. You can disagree, you can have strong thoughts, opinions. Drop them in the comments. I want to read them and interact and engage with you guys. But yeah, keep it respectful. As always, the link to my Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Patreon is in the description down below where you can find me. Patreon is it's a lot lately. I'm doing a bunch of different shows. There's a bunch of different reactions going on over there. Star Trek, Vampire Diaries, X-Files. I'm finishing Buffy, Starting Angel, Supernatural commentary, reaction style videos. I'm going to be starting up gameplay soon here on YouTube. I don't want to get ahead of myself and like put it in stone, but I'm working out a way to do gameplay and I should be starting that up within the next couple of weeks here on YouTube and also on Patreon. So yeah, the link to that's in the description if you want to check that out. Christmas is also going to be starting over on Patreon. Oh my god, I did it for Halloween week and did a bunch of Halloween films. I'm going to be doing the same thing for Christmas. I'm going to be doing some Christmas films in the lead up to Christmas. Duh, I'm hardly going to do Christmas films in the lead up to February. But yeah, if you want to check that out, the links are all in the description down below, anywhere that you can find me. So let's go with Fear. My goodness, I have made notes. I have lost the notes. Where the fuck are the notes? I've made a lot of notes about the finale, like as a whole. How I feel like they wrapped up the season. So one thing that kind of confused me a bit on the day, but makes sense watching back, is the fact that they aired the last two together. So it was kind of just like one huge episode. When you watch them together, just one bleeds into the other. I do think that was a good way to do it. They kept the storyline and the viewing experience really clean and cohesive. But I feel like the second last episode got overshadowed a bit because all anybody wanted to talk about and discuss, I guess, was the finale, was the very last episode. So it kind of stole away from that episode. That episode didn't really get its time to shine. In regards to story endings and character endings, where everyone ended up, I loved that Strand got his family. Strand has been my favourite character for seasons now. I loved following him, watching him go and explore different parts of the character and bring out different aspects of him season after season that we hadn't seen before. Strand was changing things up right, left and centre. I mean, my god. Entering into the show, I loved the storyline that he brought with him with the Abigail, and we're trying to find, I think his name was Tomas. I'm going to kick myself while I'm editing this if I got it wrong. I loved watching him build a relationship with Madison, Nick to an extent, and obviously Alicia. I did find it a bit weird that we took the villainous role with him in more recent seasons. The him versus Alicia thing that was going on. I mean, Strand is that kind of character that he has darker aspects to his personality and he would make a kick-ass actual villain. Now, we did see him take on that villainous role with the tower, just flipping people off the edge of the tower, and I was like, Strand, oh my god. We know he does have that ruthless side to him, and I did like watching to get that explored, but I love where they decided to end with him. That he was just a family guy who fell in love, cared about his family, and you really see that, I think, with Madison. So when Madison wanted to go and find Alicia, and Strand's only concern was getting back to his family, and he was like, I'm asking you to come with me, and then she was like, I can't do that, same as I'm not going to ask you to come help me look for Alicia. I loved that, seeing them take their individual sides with their now families. Well, Alicia was always Madison's family. You understand what I'm trying to say. Seeing him get into the truck at the end with his husband and his kid and seeing him be happy, and then you get that confirmation when he looks out the rear view mirror and he sees Madison, Alicia and oh, the kid, what's her name? I just watched this episode yesterday. I'm desperate with names. She was a strange one as well. Troy's daughter. I'm trying to get up the name, the kid's name. She was a strange one. Tracy. That's her name. Tracy. I mean, I feel like that was kind of strange because her storyline was so all over the place and so muddled, right? We get introduced to her towards the very, very end of the show. Troy is her dad. You don't know who her mother is. They play around with the idea that Alicia might be the mother. I kind of was like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. You see Madison going through it to try to kill Tracy, and then was like, oh, I might be your grandmother. You might be my daughter's kid. Okay, you're like my bestie now. She just completely switches up on her. And then we find out that she's not at all related to the Clarks, and they still choose to take her on anyway and like adopt her and bring her into the fold. which I did think was quite sweet, because this is a kid that's lost everything. She lost her mother, she lost her father, Troy. She didn't have anyone left. So for Madison and Alicia to take her in, I did like that storyline. But I love that Strand got to see them, that they came back to show him that they were alive before they left. No words were needed, nothing was needed. He was just content in knowing that they were okay and alive. And they were content with seeing him with his family about to drive off into the unknown. Touching on Madison a little bit then, I said it, when she was brought back into the show, I was like, okay, this is just weird. Bringing back a character that already had a clean cut exit from the show. Similarly with Troy, but with both characters, I do feel like it worked. I was so apprehensive about both individuals when they came back. I mean, Troy was gone. He was dead. So, in my opinion, so was Madison. But her character took such a strange turn when they brought her back. In my opinion, I think it was absolute character assassination. Bringing her back in and making her the kidnapper, or the one that brings all the kids with the Padre storyline. I thought that was so weird. So I am glad that she eventually cut ties with that storyline and decided to go the other way and was all about helping the kids, trying to help them find their parents. I enjoyed her time on the show towards the end. I think that she's a level up from Morgan Jones. Morgan Jones, Mr. I Don't Die. She can't die. It's not that she won't, it's that she just can't. The amount of death attempts this character has avoided is truly, it is something else. We need a kill counter just for her character alone. In the last 2 episodes, she nearly drowned, but didn't, thanks to Troy. She nearly got shot. No, she did get shot, but she was saved by wasn't it the gun magazine with the necklace in it, with Alicia's necklace in it? That saved her. And then she nearly died again when she tried to blow herself up, which she also survived. Even though she survived that seasons ago, she is truly like the Terminator, the Madison-nator. I do like where we ended, the notes that we ended her character on, though. But I have to say, the reuniting scene, the scene between Madison and Alicia, where they finally met each other and were like, oh my god, both of us are alive. What are the chances? I found that kind of strange. I am just so happy that they did get to reunite. I always said at the end of Fear, when Fear ends, all I want to see is Madison and Alicia reunite. They have to come back and meet each other somehow. Whatever happens afterwards is just whatever happens after. If they decide to go their separate ways, fine. If they decide to stay together, fine. I just want to see them together on screen again. I am glad they decided to go forward with their storyline together. The Alicias, I don't remember what they called them. You know, the group of girls that were driving around in the van, like, pretending to be Alicia. I get that in concept, cool. And Alicia coming forward and saying, like, well, they're doing more than I ever could. Because to them, Alicia is like, she's a story, she's an allegory, she's a myth. And they will carry on her teachings, philosophy, whatever, better than she could. Because if she's not there, she can't fail them. She can't fuck up. The idea of her, I think, is better than her to them. So I think that's super smart. And the same thing happened with Madison. Madison deciding to let the Madres go and do their thing and leave with Alicia, because they both know that, like, their legacy is in safe hands and that there's people out there that will do good in their name. I liked that a lot. But I do feel like their scene where they actually reunited was so weird. I mean, Madison was just dug out of the rubble by Tracy, apparently. A kid could somehow... okay, fine. The kid could find her, drag her out, okay. She survived that after the blow-up thing. Explosion. Why do my sleeves insist on falling down? This t-shirt is too big and the sleeves come down to my elbow, so we gotta roll them up. But now I feel like I'm about to go playing like baseball or something. It's my 5 Seconds of Summer t-shirt from their tour. You don't care. Back to Fear. It was just strange and kind of disjointed. I mean, that scene alone, she woke up in the tent with Tracy. We're in a tent. I don't even know where we are in that scene. We're in a tent on a mountain. And then Alicia just strolls in out of fucking nowhere. She descends from the heavens directly into the tent. So strange. And I feel like they slipped back into just like regular conversation far too quick after reuniting. They reunited. It was emotional. But then they were just like, anyways, they're like, what have you been up to? What have you been doing? And it's like, you guys haven't seen each other in years. You both just assumed the other one dead multiple times. No, like, crying, no tears, no clutching on to each other for dear life. It was just a strange scene to reunite them. But I'm glad that we saw it, and I'm glad that they got more time together. They can now go, I believe it's LA that they're going home. And I do love that last shot that we got of them where they're sitting on the front of the car and Madison just turns and puts her hand on the can that has Nick's ashes in it. So they're all together again. Nick is even there. I mean, his ashes are there. They're going to go home. I do think that was lovely. Last we saw Morgan, he was going off, I think, to look for Rick, wasn't it? He kind of mentioned knowing someone and wanted to go find them, and he took his kid to seemingly show hop. Now, they did say regarding Fear that there's going to be no crossovers. Or no, they said there's going to be no spin-offs. Sorry, I don't think they mentioned anything about crossovers. But they did say something about there being no spin-offs, that this is it. I do like how they ended the show so open-ended that everyone got their clean-cut end of a storyline. If we never see anything from the characters of Fear, we kind of know where they are and how they're doing. So we have closure in that way. It did wrap up the show really well. But at the same time, characters like Morgan could very well pop up in Rick's show, Rick and Michonne's show, in The Ones Who Live, because he specifically left Fear in search of Rick, or in search of his storyline on The Walking Dead that he had before he left. Which, let me say, that is one of my favourite moments in Fear ever, the crossover between Fear and The Walking Dead. Do you guys remember that night? Do you remember the excitement of finishing The Walking Dead? Finishing The Walking Dead and then crossing over into Fear. I loved Morgan's story. Surprisingly, that's not a very well, or it's not like a shared thing among everyone in the Fear the Walking Dead fandom. I've seen a lot of people saying they didn't like Morgan's storyline, they didn't like what he took on in Fear. I think Morgan absolutely revived the show when he came over to it. That's my opinion. But I would like to see him pop up again. I mean, he's Morgan Jones, the stuff that he has been through as well. I would really like to see him pop up in The Ones Who Live. Same, I guess, could go for Madison and Alicia. They could technically cross over into other shows, but I don't see them doing it. I think that they're both done with the franchise and the show. There was some loose ends that we never really got clarified. Like, I mentioned it in one of the reactions. Where's Al? Because we got to see her tapes. Those damn tapes. Oh my god, did they haunt the show. We got to see her tapes again, and I kind of said, like, oh yeah, well, like, we never saw her again. Yeah, I know she went off in search for her girlfriend, or something got to do with a helicopter. I know she exited the show. But she just never... I really thought we might get to see her again at some point. She just never came back. She fucked off into the unknown. Now, maybe she'll turn up in The Ones Who Live, because I know it ties in with the CRM storyline. So maybe we might see her pop up at some stage in the future. I mean, we know we got Jadis. Jadis has been show hopping for a while, to be fair. Jadis was in Walking Dead. She hopped over to World Beyond. I think she's also going to be in The Ones Who Live. So maybe Al could do something similar. She could just show hop. And Morgan could show up too, and it's going to be a big old Fear reunion. Speaking of show hopping, Dwight. His character did not shine for me until Fear. I mean, in The Walking Dead, we were off to a rocky start. Me and my Dwighty boy, we were off to a rocky start, okay? Him and Daryl. Him shooting Daryl, him feeding him the dog food. Now, I know he was trying to help him, and he was trying to, like, tell him, dude, just, like, say I'm Negan. Oh my god, make life easier for yourself. Say I'm Negan. But Daryl's a stubborn little bollocks, and that's why I love him. Anyway, it's not about Daryl. Dwight, when he switched over to Fear, absolutely, I understood him. I got him, you know? Getting to see him grow and change, and the storyline with him and Sherry, the storyline between him trying to fit in with everybody else. On Fear, we had him I don't know, you could get the sense that he was searching for who he was, independent of anyone else. Even though Sherry was always his number one, also. His number one priority. We got him and Sherry as like cowboys or something. They were like galloping around the place on the horses. That was crazy. We got the on again, off again thing with him and Sherry, which it worked for a while, but I have to say after a bit I just got sick of it. I was like, you know what, I don't even care about them anymore. And that's kind of where I stood with them at the end of the show. I was like, you guys have broken up and gotten back together so many times. You had the storyline between them and their kid as well. That was absolutely heartbreaking. Them having a kid and then losing him. But Dwight, I feel like it's fitting that he would end up back at the Sanctuary. So Sherry and Dwight ended the storyline deciding to go back to the Sanctuary and try and make it an actual Sanctuary. Try and make it what it should have been all along. And I think that's so fitting, and it's such a nice close to their arc. That when we first met them, they were in the Sanctuary. Everything was absolutely disgusting. It was like disgraceful. The horrible goings on that were happening there. And then since they've left the Sanctuary, I feel like they've constantly been running from it mentally. You know, they can't really get over that hurdle. So it just makes sense closure-wise for them to go back and put it to rest and make it something better. But yeah, I have to say, I did get sick of the whole on again, off again. You're not Ross and Rachel, you're Sherry and Dwight, and I just did not care for it, you know what I mean? There's also a load of characters that we didn't get clarification on, like Sarah and Wendell and all those characters. Strand did mention that a load of characters died. I think it was starvation, wasn't it, on the rafts? That was thrown in. I was like, okay, but still, we're probably going to get to see the characters that we have spent seasons with, right? We're going to get to see what happens to them, and we didn't. So I found that kind of weird. Now again, when you have such a huge ensemble show, it's understandable that certain characters will just disappear and not be seen again, or leave, or be given somewhat of an ending. I mean, like the same with like the rabbi, like I said, Sarah Wendell. There's so many characters that deserved better regarding their ending. I mean, I can't imagine being those actors going to work one day and then just like never coming back and not really getting clarification on what happened to your character when you've given so much of your time, energy, love, blood, sweat and tears to a show. That must be shitty. So I do feel for them. So yeah, there's definitely certain characters I wasn't happy with their endings. Those that I just named included. Charlie as well. I've gone back and forth on the Charlie thing. And I was like, well, look, at the end of a show, when you're gearing up for the end of a show, especially a show of this nature, you have to give us deaths. There has to be hard-hitting deaths that's going to divide the fandom and make people enraged, right? And Charlie was that, but I'm like, I don't think they should have killed her. I mean, the way she came into the show with killing Nick, and then trying to deal and grapple with that, deal with the people around her hating her, deal with her growing her storyline with Alicia, and then going on to become like a proper functioning member of the group and being able to like handle her own and stand on her own, as we saw towards the end of the show. You had the storyline with the, I think it wasn't radiation, she was sick from radiation. It was touch and go. We heard Daniel mention that she was sick and he didn't see her again, and then it was like, oh my god, are we never going to see her? But then she's brought back and then she's just fucking killed. Now I am in two minds about that, right? Because in one way, I firmly believe in a show like this, in a show like The Walking Dead, in any apocalypse show, nobody should be safe. There should not be such thing as plot armor or whatever. You know what I mean? So I firmly think that anyone should be up for grabs in terms of being killed off, being whatever. But similarly, it kind of reminds me of the Coral storyline a bit, because I know when Coral was killed off, people were so mad. There was uproar. And I kind of feel that way about Charlie. I feel like the children of the show should be the future. Now, we did get that with The Walking Dead. We got the shot of RJ and Judith overlooking the lavender field, very much instilling the next generation are growing up. They're up and coming. They're going to take over, which is how it should have been. That is how these kind of shows should end. But like, when they killed off Coral, like he was going to be the future of The Walking Dead. He's Rick Grimes' son. He should have been the one to grow up and lead things and take over. Someone who was a child in the apocalypse and was reared and brought up through the apocalypse. Same with Charlie. She was a child when all this started out, like really young, back she was first brought into the show. We saw her grow, change, adapt, learn, and become such a smart and capable character that killing her off just kind of felt like a waste. Same as it did with Coral. But, like, it happens in these shows, you know what I'm saying? If they want to pull at your heartstrings, they want to whatever, they're going to do shit like this. So I am so on the fence about that. I'm not happy with her ending. I think I'm going to stab myself in the foot with this, because I'm just walking back what I just said. But I think I would have rather preferred to have not known what happened to her. So like when Daniel said it about her being sick, I think I would have preferred just to have been left at that, because I could have in my head gone, well yeah, but she's better. She's off living somewhere nice by herself. She decided, this fuckery, I'm done with it. I'm gonna, like Madison and Alicia did, I'm just gonna leave. Obviously another major death that we got was Troy Otto, which again, insanity, bringing him back just to kill him. Well, was it ever going to end any other way for him? No. He might even be dead. It's Troy. We saw him get his head clobbered in already and a dam fell on him and he just walked out of it like, what's up? I'll just continue on, I guess. I was very apprehensive about him coming back. I thought it was a bit of a weird move. I was like, oh, I am not going to like this. But I did. And I think a lot of that is down to, I think his name is Daniel, the guy that plays Troy. He's a fantastic actor. He is so charismatic. He fucking brought it. And then throwing in the kid's storyline with him and the fact that he lost his wife, he lost his partner, throwing all that in really just fleshed him out as a character and made me give a fuck. I cared. These sleeves, they're out to wreck my head. I do not know how to roll a sleeve. How do they do it so like fashionably? You ever see people with sleeves rolled and you're like, that's a fashionable sleeve. Mine don't look like that at all. A lot of people have touched on the flower being in Nick's death scene or in one of Nick's final scenes. I didn't pick up on that. When I saw the flower, I just went straight to The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. The end of The Walking Dead, sorry. Where Judith's... Shut up. Judith's giving the speech to RJ, we're the ones who live. And you have that lovely lavender field in the background that I did get tattooed because I'm obsessed. I got it tattooed before the Rick and Michonne show was named, by the way, so ahead on the curve on this one. And flowers are so often used as a symbol of regrowth and rebirth and hope for the future. So that's what I took from that scene, where you see Tracy picking the flower and then it's put into Strand's car, or his truck, sorry. It was just, to me, it was a nice symbol, but then it goes even deeper like that when you learn that, yeah, it was in Nick's final scenes. It was in that field, or that clearing with Nick. Beautiful, beautiful. I have to say, like, in terms of visuals, I loved the final season. In terms of visuals, I like everything they did. Everything just felt kind of seamless. I don't think there was any clunky, moments regarding CG or effects or makeup or anything. Everything was seamless. I thought it was really beautiful to watch. It was nice to look at. I'm thankful every day that they got rid of that super saturated filter that was on Fear for a while. The show, whether you love it or you hate it, it has given some incredible storytelling. Yeah, it's given us some duds. Oh my god, there's some seasons that's like, we'll just skip that one. But it's given us just equally as amazing storylines. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've loved so much about this show. I mean, you had John and June's wedding. That shit fucking broke me and stands out to this day as one of my favourite moments in Fear, because you just don't see weddings in the apocalypse. They fucking gave us one. Them as a couple anyway was everything. We're not going to talk about John. We're not going to talk about Dory leaving, because I'm still not over that. I loved the hot air balloon. That shit was ridiculous and I loved it. Only Fear could pull that off. I loved season 1. Season 1 of Fear, in my opinion, is some of the strongest in the Walking Dead universe. In like in terms of apocalypse shows and shit, season 1 was close to perfection. I loved getting to see it from their point of view. I loved being thrown in with the characters, trying to learn everyone, how it was given to us. I absolutely fucking loved it. That's one thing that a lot of people say about Fear, and I agree with. I feel like they did really move on from the outbreak super fucking fast, and Fear's whole pitching point was like, where were you at the beginning? Like, it was going back to the beginning, and they did do that for quite a while, but then they just skipped right on to like jumping into the pirate storyline and jumping into already building communities and taking the style of more of a Walking Dead style show, later season Walking Dead style show. So I wish they dragged out the beginning a bit more. I would watch a show that just has like 3 seasons of like week 1 of the apocalypse, because I think that's the most interesting, spicy part of the show, is where it all begins. And with the apocalypse, you have so much material and stuff to play with. But anyway, I loved the submarine storyline. The Dead in the Water, I think it was called, the miniseries. Again, one of the best things Fear has done. We got the submarine, we got the backstory hinted at, but then they gave us the miniseries, the web series. If you haven't seen Dead in the Water, just go watch it. It is incredible. I think when you add all the episodes up of Dead in the Water, it ends up being like 40 minutes long, which is roughly the like the length of one episode of like Fear or The Walking Dead. Fantastic storytelling in that. Teddy is probably to this day one of my favourite things about Fear. That crazy son of a bitch, that little absolute weirdo. I loved him. I loved the cult story. I loved everything that came with that Ginny, Virginia, the oil storyline, everything that happened around that era of Fear. I wish we'd gotten more of Teddy. My god, what a crazy son of a bitch. And you would have people like that in the apocalypse. That's the scary thing. You would have them, as outlandish and nuts as he is, and how kind of like disjointed that he felt. You still could imagine someone like that in this world. Man, I've loved Fear. I really have enjoyed it. I mean, I'm always not and if not honest, and I do call things as I see it, and I have given my opinions many times regarding any show that I cover on here. But overall, I really liked Fear. I think they did a great job over the seasons. Again, some fell flat, some were incredible. Same with the characters. Some were absolutely phenomenal, and some were just like, oh, you're there. Same with any show. I have to circle around though, and I don't understand this. So I mentioned it in I think it was a reaction video before about Forbes. I don't read reviews from publications, because when I want reviews of things, I will either talk to friends or family or people that I know, or I'll go research online, like content creators, get their feel, their vibe, their feedback regarding shows and things like that. But lads, I gotta say, I don't understand Forbes. It has been a joke in the fandom, in the Walking Dead fandom, for so long that Forbes has such a stick up their hole when it comes to the Walking Dead. I don't know, is it different writers? I don't know. It must be, because Forbes have been covering the Walking Dead for like since the beginning. They must have had different writers in that time. But one commonality that I find is their hatred for the Walking Dead universe shows is truly something else. Every now and again you'll get a positive review, but 9 times out of 10 it's like, it's just fucking mean. And the only reason I'm even bringing this up is I was searching Fear the Walking Dead online and seeing what people were saying and stuff, and up came a headline from Forbes, and the headline was "A dreadful end to a dreadful show." I don't understand how you as a journalist can write that. Are you not like opinions are subjective, tastes are subjective, and especially when you're dealing with a long-running show that spanned seasons. There's gonna be duds, there's gonna be fucking atrocious storylines, there's gonna be bad storytelling, bad acting, but there's just as much good as there is bad. How can you say that the whole show overall is like dreadful and brand the entire thing as dreadful? Like, I don't know. Look, in my opinion, I just think if you're professionally writing for somebody, you're supposed to like keep it professional somewhat and try to not put out hit piece after hit piece. Maybe that's just my opinion. I don't know. I got up, I tried to read through some of the review and I had to tap out. I couldn't do it. One line that I took word for word from this review. Word for word. Now, full transparency, this review I do believe was written as the person was watching the episode, so it was more like train of thought, trying to be more organic, trying to be more personable in their review. So it was just like, it's like if you watched a live tweet or a thread of someone live tweeting the episode of a show. But one of the lines was, "Uh-oh, trucks, they've crossed out the P on Padre, now it says Madre because of Madison. Lol. Lol, 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 lol." From a Forbes writer, nonetheless. Anyway, I understand that reviews are more personal generally, and it is people more giving their thoughts and opinions, but Forbes has been consistently vicious, and not just with Fear, because like you could say, oh well, Fear is a reputation. Okay, same with Dead City, same with Daryl Dixon's show, and same with the mother show, The Walking Dead. I mean, if you hate a show that much, just stop covering it. How about that? It's the same with like people that hate watch online. I'm just gonna get into this because like, my god, hang on, I'm currently pouring a shot of my vitamins because I forgot to take it this morning. Jesus Christ, oh my god, I sound like an I don't know what. Excuse me while I take my shot of vitamins. I used to be so cool. Ooh, that tastes like good. So yeah, about people that hate watch. The amount of times, and you guys know, if you were in the Walking Dead space, or if you interact with Walking Dead tweets, or with I don't know, TikToks, whatever the fuck you be interacting with, it's not even just Walking Dead, it's everything. There is always those people in the comments that are like, lol, this show's still on. I got a comment like that on one of my videos recently. And I'm like, then yet, here you are. You took the time out of your day to click on a video that was specifically about a Walking Dead universe show. You come here, you take the time to watch a little bit of the video. You know, cheers for that. But then you also take the time out of your day, your precious time. Time is fucking precious. To go down to the comments and go, this show is shit, people still watch it. Buddy, you need to learn time management. You're wasting your time on shit like. Fear dealt with a lot of that. Whenever they were promoting seasons or promoting episodes or promoting characters coming back, they deal with an awful lot of that shit going on. And it's like, the world is shitty enough, the world is dark enough, oh my god. There's enough going on that it's like, shows and TV is escapism, it's art. Whether you like it or not, again, it's subjective. If you don't like something, just don't interact with it. Go put your time and your energy into something that you do enjoy. I feel very protective of Fear. Now, that's not me being, you know, completely in its corner either, because I do agree, and I have said it many times in reviews before, in episode reactions before, they've made some very questionable decisions, things I straight up don't like, don't agree with. They have given us some duds when it comes to storylines. But at the same time, they have entertained me for years. The writers, creators, directors, actors, whatever, as a show. The entity that is Fear, The Walking Dead, has entertained me for years. It's taken me away. Once a week when the episode airs, it distracts me. I love it. You know what I mean? So I do feel kind of protective about it, that I'm like, if you don't like it, like, okay. And now I don't mean people that critique it, because there is people that critique it, and like, fair enough. But I mean people that are just straight up like, hell-bent on just shitting on something. It's like, dude, alright, you didn't like it, it's not for you. So fucking jump ship and swim to another ship. Swim to another show. Go over to something else. I never understood that energy, that real negative, shitty fucking energy regarding something like that. There's many things I don't like. There's many a show that I've seen that, in my opinion, is dog shit. But I don't preach about it. I'd go, don't like that, moving on. And that's it. You'll be much happier if you have that kind of mindset in life, I assure you. I did like the tone change, you know, the final few episodes. No one's gone till they're gone. It's all about giving second chances. It's all about growing, evolving, changing, and like building a somewhat hopeful future. I mean, especially with characters that have been in the show for this long, a show that's been going for this amount of seasons, for them to take such a positive outlook and to try and force such a positive view on things is nice, and it's hopeful, and it's not what you'd expect. I mean, these characters, they've gone through so much. You'd expect them to be bitter, cold bollockses. You'd expect them to be absolute asshats. And, you know, they weren't. It ended on such a positive note that I enjoyed it. I liked how everything came to a close. And like I've said throughout the review, yeah, there's things I don't agree with. There's things that I wish they'd done better, handled better. Characters I wish they had given the grace and respect that they deserved. But overall, I think they did well at ending a show that has been so fucking chaotic throughout the seasons. I couldn't have even begun to imagine an ending. So I think they did pretty well. I really did enjoy that. That's my thoughts on Fear. Let me know in the description. In the description? No. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought, what you liked, what you didn't like. And yeah, that's it for Fear. My leg has gone dead because I'm sitting on it. Oh! Also, yes, Skid Mark came back, and that did absolutely make everything for me. Seeing Daniel be reunited with his pet after all that time. And don't get me wrong, I'm just going back and touching on what I said a minute ago regarding like critiquing a show and being mean and being negative. I think every show deals with that, and every show needs that too. You can't just kiss up to a show 24/7 or it's never going to grow and progress. Do you know what I mean? It's healthy to have like opinions and stuff on shit. So like if you didn't vibe with whatever was going on, if you didn't like the ending, please let me know in the comments. I just mean, like, you know, like people that I mentioned earlier that review things online or whatever and just are so consistently horrible. It just blows my mind. I was lucky enough to get to talk to some of the cast and crew from Fear. I have an interview playlist somewhere here on this channel. I think it's in the podcast section now. I think my interviews were put into a podcast section, and I'm like, whoa, sweet. So I have gotten to talk to quite a few of the cast and crew, and I know how sweet they are and how much energy and blood, sweat and tears they put into the show. And it just, the idea of them reading some of the things that's said online, it truly does make me fucking sad, because I know what the show meant to so many people that worked on it. So yeah, that's my opinions. This is it for Fear. Oh my god, this is probably the last video that I'm going to make specifically regarding Fear. That makes me sad. Again, big thank you to the cast, the crew, writers, set designers, costume designers, musicians, anyone that had anything to do, the editors, the CG people, the CG team, special effects, all that, anyone that had anything to do putting the show together. Thank you so fucking much for all of the years of entertainment and storytelling. I have really enjoyed my time with the show. I'm sad to be saying goodbye to it. To you guys who watched along with the reactions, thank you so much for tuning in to my big old fucking head week after week. I do appreciate you being here. Yeah, that's it for this video, you guys. Like I said, the link to all of my socials are down below if you want to follow me and see what's going on other platforms. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you all soon.